Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing a swatch and review for Mooncat's This Is Surrealism collection, which just came out, and I'm also going to be doing a swatch and review for the Once Upon a Fairytale collection, which came out about a month ago. I just didn't have time to swatch it sooner, so we're going to do a little 2-for-1 today, so let's just get into it. Starting with the This Is Surrealism collection, the first polish is Melting Clocks, which is a baby blue lacquer filled with soft pink shimmer. This shade honestly reminds me of cotton candy because of that blue and pink combo, so I think it looks super cute, especially for summer. This one has a slightly crellyish formula where the base isn't super opaque, so it really lets the shimmers shine through. I think if your nails are shorter, you might be able to get away with just 2 coats, but I sort of had some patchiness, especially near my cuticle area and then near the corner of the tip of my nail, so I just did a 3rd coat to really even it all out. I think alternatively, you could try and layer this over a baby blue cream polish and the shimmer will still pop. It just won't look as dimensional because you're not layering coats of the shimmer polish, it's just one layer, but it's just a little trick that some people do because they don't like layering 3 coats of the same polish, so just an option, but yeah, this one is super cute. Next up is Apple of My Eye, which is a lime green lacquer filled with pink shimmer. This one is basically exactly the same as the last polish, but just the green version. I think the base color on this one is so pretty. You know I love a good lime green in the summer. And while I do appreciate it having the same shimmer as Melting Clocks, I almost wish that it didn't. I don't know, I think if it had a blue shimmer or like a peachy orange, I would like it even more. But anyway, I basically had the same experience with application as the last polish, where for the most part, you might get away with 2 coats, but I had this annoying bald spot down in the corner of my cuticle area that was still honestly apparent on the 3rd coat, so I think it was just my bad with the application. So consider this a 2 to 3 coater, depending on your nail length and application. Still a really pretty polish. So next we have Head in the Clouds, a cloud white lacquer with blue shimmer. So this shade is a very light gray crelly base. I really wouldn't consider it white or off-white, but either way I expected it to have the same formula as the last 2 polishes, so I was really pleased at how this felt a lot smoother to apply. It just really glided on my nail with pretty even coverage. The shimmers were also super strong on the first coat too, where it almost looked reflective or glassy. So it's really cool to see the polish look like that without top coat. But I still needed 3 coats to build this one up to be fully opaque. Again, you might be able to try that layering technique where you layer it over a very light colored base and the shimmers are strong enough that they will just really glow. Up next is Con Artist, which is described as a hot red shimmer lacquer. I would personally describe this as an almost magenta jelly with a fiery copper shimmer. This one has a much more sheer base, so it actually doesn't apply as dark as it looks in the bottle. It has a more jelly consistency, but it's still super easy to build up. So even though I'm a big seasonal wearer, I think this polish is absolutely stunning. I'm definitely excited to wear this one and the next polish in a couple months once the weather cools down again. It just gives me cozy fireplace vibes. But anyway, I still had pretty visible nail line with 2 coats, and doing 3 definitely helps, but I still feel like it's not 100% opaque. Just in case that bothers you, I think the shimmers are distracting enough where it didn't bother me enough to do a 4th coat, because honestly, who has time for that? But this one is just so magical. And lastly, we have the 13th Hour, a blue shimmer lacquer with a black base. I don't know why I was actually surprised to see this in a black base. I guess I was expecting a blackened blue base, but no, this is straight up a black jelly base, which I think is just so cool. So this one is the most alluring of the polishes in this collection, at least for me. I absolutely love it. I also found it was opaque enough for me on just 2 coats, probably because the base is so dark, it's just easier to build up. And not to repeat myself, but I really can't wait to wear this in the fall and the winter. It's just such a cool shade. But do let me know if you would wear something this dark in the summer. I know some people are totally capable of doing that. It just couldn't be me. Now moving on to the Once Upon a Fairytale collection, we're starting with Firefly Forest, which is a rich violet jelly lacquer filled with teal and pink iridescent flakies. I figured I'd transition out of the last collection by starting with the darkest shade in this one. I do want to say though, I don't really agree with how they describe this one. I would say it's more of a charcoal jelly base with a strong violet shimmer, and I don't really see the pink flakies in this either. But I still think they nailed the whole fireflies glowing in an enchanted forest vibe. This one is so mystical. Again, maybe not something I would grab during the season, but I'm really excited to wear this one in October. Since the base is so dark, I found it opaque enough for me on 2 coats. Next up, we have Into the Wishing Well, which is a deep periwinkle lacquer filled with micro holographic glitter and bright pink, soft yellow, and electric green shimmer. I think the formula is really smooth on this one, and under direct lighting, you mainly get the soft yellow shimmer, which is such a pretty contrast to the purple base. I ended up just needing 2 coats for this one, but you might need a third, especially if your nails are longer. And while it did build up nicely, I am kind of bummed that I didn't get to see the bright pink shimmer in this one, but here's a clip with some different lighting so you can see the electric green shimmer. I think this combo is just so pretty and definitely reminds me of fairy wings. This is easily one of my favorites. Next is Moonfairy, which is a lavender jelly lacquer filled with yellow, pink, and teal iridescent flakies, indigo shimmer, and a micro holographic glitter. This one is absolutely packed with flakies. I think it almost gives it a crushed seashell type of texture, if that makes sense. Not that this is textured, all the flakies lay flat and it's really smooth to apply. But it looked really sheer on the first coat, and I was expecting I would need to do 3 for full opacity, but I ended up just doing 2. I think the amount of flakies in this one is what helped cover up my nail line. It's still not 100% opaque, so again, if your nails are longer, you might need 3 coats, but I just think it looks so whimsical on 2 coats here. Next is If Frogs Had Wings, which is described as an aqua jelly lacquer filled with bright pink shimmer and soft yellow and green iridescent flakies. I thought this was going to be the blue version of Moonfairy, but this one just isn't jam-packed with flakies. If anything, it's more similar in finish to Firefly Forest, but with an obviously much lighter color scheme. It still has a really strong shimmer and pretty even coverage on the first coat, but because the base color is so light, I found a 3rd coat was necessary for full opacity. And I'm not sure what it is about the shimmer in this one, but it almost has a slightly frosty look. I can't exactly put my finger on it, but it's just slightly different compared to the other shimmers that we've seen. I still really like this one for summer though, because it gives me those crushed seashell vibes, and it actually reminds me of mermaid scales or something enchanting like that. So I'd love to know what you think of this one. And last but certainly not least is A Midsummer's Dream, which is an iridescent, soft pink jelly lacquer filled with bright blue shimmer. I hope you're not surprised to hear that this one is my favorite from the collection. It kind of gives me cotton candy vibes again because of that pink and blue combo, but I still think it's so ethereal and definitely what I would wear if I was a cute little fairy. So yeah, this one has a super sheer base, but wow, the blue shimmer just glows so much in this one. It honestly kind of reminds me of Head in the Clouds from earlier in the video with how reflective and almost glassy it looks without any top coat. It's really cool, but for some reason this one applies a little bit more brushstrokey than Head in the Clouds. Maybe I was using too much polish or didn't let it settle fully. But yeah, I just didn't love the final look of this one. Actually, I do think the brushstrokes do settle because I wore this a while ago and posted it on my Instagram and they weren't as noticeable there. but I'm going to show you a trick that I learned from JustFace90 here on YouTube, the OG swatcher. She made this video like 8 years ago about this hack to remove brushstrokes, and it just blew my mind. You start with a layer of polish like normal, but then apply the remaining coats of polish using a makeup sponge, which totally diffuses those brushstrokes and makes it look almost velvety. I do like how soft it looks when it's applied this way, but again, because the base on this polish specifically is super sheer, you likely won't be able to get it 100% opaque. And if you do, it'll take way too many coats to do that. But I think it does add to the dreaminess of it to have it a little bit sheer. I could be totally biased though, because like I said, this is my favorite shade and I'm a sucker for pink in general. But yeah, let me know if you've heard of this trick before, or if you would even be bothered to do all this work for this one shade, or if the brushstrokes don't even bother you at all. I think I wouldn't go without sponging on at least the top layer whenever I use this, but maybe next time I'll just try layering it over a baby pink to see how it looks there. Either way, I really love this one. And that concludes this massive swatch and review for Mooncat's last two collections, This is Surrealism and Once Upon a Fairytale. So I would love to know your thoughts on both of these. If you have any favorites, leave me a comment down below so we can chat about it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.